Okay, this is a video, let's see how it goes, of a full-out U.S. battle. So, a new civil war breaks out. This time it is a full-on north-south divide. And yes, I know, this line doesn't reflect anything. It's not accurate. I kind of drew it geographically along California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Kansas border. And then I kind of went with old free state, slave state borders, with the exception of West Virginia and Missouri. I gave those to the north, but otherwise, I think this map is fine. But it's a full battle royale. Alaska and Hawaii. We're also going to pretend that these are the actual locations, like naval invasions could be launched. They're both part of the, Hawaii's part of the south, Alaska's part of the north. I haven't rehearsed this, so I'm kind of just going to do it off, like, memory and see how it goes. I've highlighted a few key cities, as well as the capitals of each nation. Capital of the north is DC, which actually they move because it's a bit too exposed. They move it up to New York. They move the capital up to New York to make it less exposed, and the capital of the south is Los Angeles. So yeah, these states declare independence and war breaks out. Now quickly, the North has a strategy similar to what they did during the Civil War. They want to cut the Mississippi down in two. The North will be represented in blue, while the South will be represented in red. So North starts off this war by actually trying to try to cut it off through the Mississippi. So what they do is, I'm going to keep this original border, by the way. What they do is they invade through the plains of Kentucky. Louisville is, like, right here. They just need to cross the river. And they actually take Louisville. They push into Louisville. They mobilize faster, by the way. They push into Louisville, and the rest of the state just... They push into Louisville, the most important city, as well as Lexington, and the state just surrenders to the blue team, I guess. This is because I'm going to have it so each state basically is like its independent country, but they are one, so like states could surrender and whatever. So yeah, the border's moved. Blue means occupied by the north. So, but while this is happening, the south actually starts a push-up. They want to cut off Seattle and Portland and cut off the Pacific to the north. So in order to do that, and I guess also invade Alaska, which, by the way, they send a naval assault, invade Alaska, and because Alaska's warm, they just kind of take it. Yeah, that's how they do it. They launch a naval assault, just kind of take Alaska. So Alaska's fallen, and Anchorage falls. The rest of Alaska falls pretty easily. It's pretty undefended. So they don't have a Pacific coast anymore. So they look to invade Seattle and Portland, and what they plan to do, they just cut it off. And the North knows this, so they try to rush troops to this area, but still a major front is set up in Oregon across the straight line border. And I get it's rather mountainous, so it's not that easy to invade. But there's a bit of a plateau right like here, so they start to invade here, and they make some progress, but eventually are stopped. Ish, kinda. But they don't take much. They get to about Bend, Oregon, and they liberate the only blockbuster left in the world, I think. And now the assault on Portland and Seattle they want, but the North has rushed troops, setting up a front right here. Another major thing, the Kansas City is split, and both sides want it. And, well, the North just takes it. They kind of just walk in, and it's part of the North. By the way, you can cut countries off. You can't escape to Canada and Mexico for the sake of being able to cut countries off. Also, Virginia is pushed out of their peninsula thing because that they just are, because it's hard to defend. And then actually the North begins another push because they're trying to mobilize out here in the West. The North begins to push down towards Denver, which is one of the key cities in the South, and Salt Lake City. So they launched their assault from like Cheyenne and like Pocatello down here. Troops from mainly, oh my god, are you kidding me? It's so annoying. The hell? Anyway, troops from these areas, they begin their push into Denver, but because Denver and Salt Lake City are key cities, they're heavily guarded, and the North barely pushes in, and while they're playing defensively, the South actually, well, instead of the North trying to take the Mississippi, the South actually tries to cut the North off, and they keep, but this time they're gonna try to do it a bit better, and they actually, what should they do? Oh yeah, they're gonna keep pushing into, they cut Oregon off, but Oregon is still connected with Seattle, but they meet the Seattle border, and this is a plain, by the way, a plateau. They get to like Kennewick, which is a city I just heard of, and they put the city under siege but take it, and then a bunch of troops have made it over here, and the Seattle and Oregon troops barely hold their front, but eventually they do get cut off, and then these southern troops rush to the sea to cut the two cities off from each other, and they just kind of do that. Yeah, let me erase this front, whatever. They cut each other off, and then each city just falls over time. They put under siege and just, fall. There's nothing they could really do. So this marks a major blow to the North, because first of all, they lost 2 key cities and 2 key states, which is bad. And second of all, the South, they don't have access to the Pacific, and I'm not going to get other countries involved, but trading partners, they just lost access to China as a key trading partner. So, and a lot of troops were sent here to try to defend, but it wasn't enough, and this area eventually, so a lot of troops got stuck there. And another thing that happens, but the South concentrated so many troops there that they have to now get troops. They don't have many troops left on the Eastern Front, so the North pushes down into the greater DC area. They take it, and then they actually begin their push to cut off, like, Norfolk, and because it's pretty undefended, they kind of just take it again. Yeah, they take Norfolk, and then they begin their push, and then they try to capture Richmond. They kind of push here. They push into Western Virginia, but Virginia still has a connection. The front down here in near Denver and Salt Lake City is going slightly better, but the troops that just attacked here were barely able to save Salt Lake City and Denver, and the cities were almost put under siege. Salt Lake City, they're almost put under siege. And so the North has actually has really started focusing on taking Denver and Salt Lake City, while the South now has to find a new thing to take. They're probably going to go for St. Louis, and because this video is long, I'm actually going to do part 2. I didn't realize this is going to be like 10 parts, but whatever. In that case, Yeah, it's actually going to be in a bit.